Welcome on in, guys. Three bold takes. And again, we have another conference coaches video in the series of ranking the top five best coaches in each conference. This video, we're doing the SEC. We did, have movement in the SEC, obviously, with Kalen DeBoer coming on as Alabama's new head coach. So where does he fit into this equation, and where does Drinkwitz and Lane Kiffin fit into this equation in the new SEC, adding Texas and Oklahoma into the conference? So Quinn, I want to pass it off to you. We're going to start at one, and then we're going to go down all the way to five. Who's the best coach in the Southeastern Conference heading into 2024?
Well, I'll start with this. I'll say this is going to be the most interesting one to watch year after year because I think the top five in the SEC could shift overnight. The one thing that won't shift is who number one is, and that's Kirby Smart. Consistently top one, two, or three recruiting class, back to back national champions, double digit wins every single year since 2017. Georgia will continue to dominate in the SEC for years to come because of that man and his ability to recruit on the recruiting trail. I don't see how you put anyone. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There's not a coach in the SEC with a national title anymore, other than Kirby Smart. So I don't know how on earth you put anyone above him. Kirby Smart's number one.
Now, if anybody could find a way to put somebody above him, it would be me. But it's not going to be me. I got Kirby Smart. Quinn said it best. And I'm going to say a very blasphemous statement here. But with Nick Saban removed from head coaching now, I believe Kirby Smart steps into that Nick Saban role as probably the top coach in the nation. And that's just my own personal perspective and seeing what he's done at Georgia. He's absolutely not only brought them back to national championship standards as they once were in the 80s or in 1980, but has them just completely destroying every opponent that they're in front of. A culture that is just unmovable and just absolutely wonderful coach. So I got Smart there too.
Yeah, I've got Kirby Smart at number one. Chase, I don't think it's blasphemous for you to say I think he is the best coach in college football now that Nick Saban is gone. I mean, last year saying that Smart had surpassed Saban last year got somebody fired at ESPN. Now it's not a direct correlation, but it's always funny to kind of go back and look at that. But Kirby Smart is the best coach in college football, so he's number one in the SEC. Chase, right back to you at number two. This is where things could kind of start to get interesting here.
Come on. I love this one. This one's my favorite. I'm going all the way to Oxford, Mississippi. I got Lane Kiffin at my number two. I think Lane Kiffin, now we're going to keep speaking on Saban being gone. With Saban not there, kind of hint for you guys when we do schedules. I think Ole Miss might be, well, they don't have the West anymore, but they would be number one in the West this season without Nick Saban and Alabama. And my thoughts, I think Kiffin has absolutely killed the transfer portal this offseason. Only going to get better at that. And then his offenses are always good, and he added a lot of defensive structure. And I only think Kiffin gets better. His offensive schemes are amazing. The plays that he has are amazing. I think Lane Kiffin, kind of like Quinn said with number one, it's kind of hard to choose somebody else here with the amount of time he's been in the SEC and how successful he's been at Ole Miss, who is not a storied winning program at the 10-11 mark or a top SEC program. I got Kiffin here.
Yeah, for me, number two, I had to sit back and think this coach is in a great recruiting bed. This coach has proven that they can get to the SEC conference championship game. This coach has been to the national title before. This coach has made two playoff appearances. A lot of things that a lot of the rest of the coaches in the conference can't say. That's Brian Kelly. And I know people like are anti Brian Kelly. I'm not. I actually think he's a really good coach. I thought he way overachieved what you can do at Notre Dame. And I think given time and the area he is in Louisiana, you get easy access to the Delta of Mississippi. You have free reign over the state of Louisiana, especially now that Nick Saban's gone. And then you have access to or Southeast Texas in the Houston area. It's the best recruiting bed in football, period. And with time and with the tenure that this man has and the resume this man has, it just stacks up better than anyone else outside of Kirby Smart. So that's why Brian Kelly is my number 2.
So my number two, Quinn, a little trivia for you, which I know you'll knock out of the park. In the SEC, who are the only coaches that are either have played or won a national championship?
That would be Kirby Smart and Brian Kelly.
You forgot about somebody who played for a national championship on January the 8th of this year, and that's Kalen DeBoer.
Oh,
Played
that's
for a
true.
national championship last year, the reigning coach of the year, AP coach of the year. He was the Pac 12 coach of the year 2 times running. He's my number two. And now listen, when we talk about ranking coaches, that's not ranking how you think a team is going to finish next year. I hope you know that. That to me is just of all the coaches, who is the best, right? Played for a national championship, an absolutely historic, record so far as a head coach. I know some of it was at Sioux Falls, so you can sue me if you want to for that. But Kalen DeBoer, I think heading into 2024 has to be top 2 or 3 in the SEC. Even though he has not proven himself in the SEC yet, has not proven himself recruiting in this area, he has actually done something, honestly, which I think is better, and that has played well and made a national championship game with less talent available to him. So that to me proves more than maybe a Brian Kelly does, where he has all the talent available at his disposal in Louisiana. Right, he was at Notre Dame, one of the most historic teams in the world. Um, so yeah, I've got Kalen DeBoer at number 2 here. Very interesting. I'm interested to hear where you guys have him ranked more than any other coach on this list. But with that being said, Quinn, let's go to you now, number 3 in the SEC.
For my number 3, I'm going with a guy who is killing it in the recruiting trail and is going to continue to kill it in the recruiting trail and is killing it in the transfer portal and will continue to kill it in the transfer portal. And I think they will only continue to get stronger, especially in the world of NIL, until there is some kind of check and balance on them. And that's Steve Sarkisian in Texas. They're going to continue to be a threat every single season. There is no ounce of doubt in me that Texas will continue to make playoff appearance after playoff appearance after playoff appearance in the current world of college football. They sit at an advantageous position over everyone else. When it comes to what I've seen Sark do, he took over Texas 3 years ago. They steadily improved all the way up to making the playoff this year. I know you could counter that with Kalen DeBoer, beat him in the semifinal. That's a one-off game thing, not an all-time program thing. I think when you're talking the two of them, I've seen what Sark can do at Texas. I have not seen what DeBoer can do at Alabama. So Steve Sarkisian's my number 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow that up with I'm taking the fraternal twin of Lane Kiffin as well. I'm gonna go Steve Sarkisian here. Kind of a lot like Lane Kiffin, killer recruiter, great offensive schemes. And I mean, he's in Texas. It's really hard not to be successful in Texas with the recruiting bed that you have there. Now you're getting that branded with the SEC. I think it's just a match made in heaven. And then just kind of dittoing everything Quinn said right there. He is going to just do amazing things in 2024, and watching what he's done so far at Texas and totally revitalizing that program, I think he's only going to get better. Fred?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sarkeesian here as well. I just like you guys said, I think we have seen one of the better maturing coaches over the last couple of years. Right, you remember his first year at Texas wasn't that great record wise. However, I think in 6 of their losses, they were all 1 score or less losses. So always played games very close and very tight. The following year, that number of 1 score game losses shrunk. Therefore, record was better. And then obviously last year, making the playoffs and beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. So I've got Sarkeesian at number 3 as well. Chase, who you got at number 4?
DeBoer is where I'm going to place DeBoer. DeBoer, I said DeBoer, I like it. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I had to. I There's not okay. I have DeBoer here because one, I loved what he did at Washington. I love the offense that he brings. I have 4 down below here because of watching so far with a lot of these guys leaving from Saban's tenure and stuff like that. And then also recruiting is that's his biggest problem that I've heard so far is his recruiting trail. How well is he going to recruit in the South? His ties to the South. He's made an elite coaching staff, so do not be surprised if he gets into this first season and has a 11-win season because of the guys he's put around him. He's put very, very good coaches around him to make him successful, even in recruiting. So I got DeBoer here just because I think what he did at Washington can easily transcend to Alabama. And then Nick Saban is still there in an advisor role, which can help him throughout this year and this transitioning period. Quinn?
Yeah, my number 4 is Kalen DeBoer. We've seen him take a team to a national title. Freddie, you mentioned his coaching record. Even though some of it is at Sioux Falls, I don't really care. Coaching's coaching. You're not getting any more access or less access to talent than your competitors are. Um, but like I said with the Sarkisian thing, really, the two of them, I kind of have them in the same spot right now. Um, but when I'm sitting here debating between the two, I've seen Sark at Texas. I have not seen DeBoer at Alabama. This is something that could easily change in time, but right now DeBoer is my number 4, and a lot of it has to do with national title appearance, really good coaching record, a lot of good in his past, and we'll see if it translates to his new program.
At number 4 for me, and this is where it gets tough because there's I've got 3 coaches in mind for 2 spots, number 4 and 5. Um, so this is going to be tough. But at number 4, I'm going to go Brian Kelly. Um, what he did at LSU in year 1 was great, and I think he is a very good head coach. And some people, just like you said, Quinn, don't necessarily like him or think that he's that good. However, you don't just make playoffs and national title appearances for being subpar. Now, has he been able to win them? Not yet. But I think that in the near future, I think Brian Kelly's the type of guy that will begin to win soon. The 12-team playoff helps him out a ton. His biggest thing that he needs to do though is bring back the LSU standard on defense. That physicality. You have access to some of the biggest and most physical guys in the country down there in Louisiana, and you can't get them. You need to he needs to surround himself with pieces that can go get them guys for him, because we all remember the whole debacle of him having that southern accent thing whenever he was named head coach. That rubbed some people the wrong way, I have a feeling. He doesn't connect to players here down south. So if you can surround yourself with people that can, followed along with his ability to recruit in general, I think that could really get them over the top. So, but what he's been able to do has been unreal in his tenure at LSU and in year 1, and also at Notre Dame beforehand. So number 5 here. Who wants to go first at number 5?
I'll take 5.
All right, go for it.
My number 5 is Lane Kiffin. Chase hit on a lot of the stuff. I think you had Kiffin way too high. We haven't seen him achieve like a playoff appearance or a win or even a conference championship game. I think a lot of that could change this year, though. If you're Ole Miss, you dodge playing Alabama, you dodge playing Texas. You just have to beat Georgia, and I believe you get them at home, sandwiched in between the Alabama and Texas games that they have all 3 on the road. So you have a really good opportunity this year to strike. The reason I've got you in the top 5 is a lot of the stuff Chase mentioned. Ole Miss is not a caliber program like the other 4 mentioned in this list for me. Texas, Georgia, LSU, Alabama. Those are 4 of the biggest brands in all of the sport, all 4 top 20 brands. Ole Miss is not top 20. Ole Miss probably isn't really even top 40, if we're being completely honest. And if they are, they're just barely in it. So to be winning at the level you are with Ole Miss, you've made 2 New Year's Six bowl appearances. I can make an argument that that's kind of the equivalent of making a playoff appearance in the 12-team playoff era. So you've made Ole Miss a very competitive program, and I don't see that changing, especially with how you compete on the transfer portal side of things. I think Kiffin has earned his spot as a top 5 coach on here, and until some other coaches make moves in the conference, it's really hard to see who you put in the top 5 other than the 5 I've put on my list, but maybe I'm just biased.
Yeah, Quinn, you mentioned your top 5. I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't have Brian Kelly here. Brian Kelly to me, Brian Kelly to me is a Jimbo Fisher type hire. He's gotten to the pinnacle of college football. He Jimbo Fisher won it. Brian Kelly did not. I don't see how Brian Kelly gets any better. I don't see how he makes LSU any better. I think he had a supernatural quarterback and some decent games this year where the quarterback went out and made things happen that couldn't have happened the other way. I don't think Brian Kelly gets them to an SEC winning championship. I don't think he gets them. He might get them to the playoffs, but I don't think he wins the playoffs. And I don't think he wins a national championship. So for me, at 5, I kinda got a 5A and 5B, and go ahead and crucify me. I got Hugh Freeze and Josh Heupel together. I think Freeze, what he's gonna do offensively at Auburn and what he's gonna do recruiting-wise, he's already got a set of receivers that is going to make Alabama and DeBoer just hate themselves for the next few years and potentially trying to flip another one that Alabama has. And then Josh Heupel's system has really worked out and has a lot of good recruits coming in there. So they're kinda on the same level for me right now until one of them elevates. Josh Heupel, I don't want to say it's a fluke year, but had the really good year with Alabama, winning and everything. Um, I need to see him recreate that more for me to be consistent. Josh Heupel, a top 5, but I like how both their offensive schemes have really helped progress them. I think Auburn's going to get better. They didn't look great in this first year. Nobody expected that, but I think Hugh Freeze will get them there at one point. And I believe in Hugh Freeze's offense and recruiting a lot like I do Josh Heupel's.
Man, Hugh Freeze is not a name I even envisioned in this conversation. To be quite honest with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I did that.
Well, you also had somebody high up on the Big Ten list that shouldn't have been there too, guys. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. That's pretty funny. But this is so number 5 for me. I really want to put Eli Drinkwitz here just to piss Chase off. Like that's what I want to do so bad. But I'm not going to because I want this to actually be realistic. Same thing with like our predictions, for 2024. Sometimes it's funny to choose something that's outlandish just for the heck of it. But we really try to be accurate on those. So this is where I have Lane Kiffin at number 5. I mean, he has absolutely killed the transfer portal here. I mean, it's unbelievable. Number 1 transfer portal class, I'm pretty sure. And the success he's had 10-2, winning New Year's 6 games, like that's unprecedented for Ole Miss. He was, I think he was the first coach to ever get them to 10 wins. I think I think that was right 2 years ago. If not, it was the first time in like 100 years or whatever it was. Something unbelievable. But I do like Lane Kiffin a lot. I know I give him a lot of crap, and I give him a lot of crap because I know how good of a coach he is, but he's just got to win the big SEC games. Like, I know he can, and I really want him to do it. That's why I'm so hard on him. I don't hate him. I actually love Lane Kiffin. But yeah, at number 5, it's got to be Lane Kiffin, and I'm honestly, Chase, I'm surprised that that Brian Kelly wasn't on your list. Where would he be in comparison to everybody else? I mean, like, is he like bottom half, or like
No,
is he close to like
he's
Billy
like right.
Napier, or what are we doing here?
No, he is not Billy Napier. He's like right there outside the cusp. It's just,
So
if
he's
you
number
see
7 for you, like
like,
below Hugh
yeah,
Freeze and
six,
Josh
7.
Heupel.
Yeah. I mean, he's you've already been there and you haven't been successful after, he just hasn't been an amazing like he's gotten there. Like look at all the big games he's played. He's just not going to be I mean, he's going to be a good coach. He's not going to be great though, And it's LSU. It's really hard not to be good at LSU. It's really hard. The athletes that come out of that state, the program that you have, the culture that you usually have, it's hard not to be successful at LSU. And,
Interesting.
oh,
3
Well,
or 4 years from now, when he's playing for a national title and winning it with LSU, we'll revisit this moment.
yeah, we'll
yeah, we
we'll
will
clip
bookmark
this.
it.
Come back.
Well, guys, I appreciate you watching. That has been the SEC coaching power rankings, if you will. Go look at our other videos. We're doing all the Power 4 conferences. Yes, Power 4. Subscribe, comment, let us know if we're stupid, if we're right. Anything you want to leave us, let us know. We love reading the comments. So I appreciate you guys watching, and peace out. See you guys next time.